So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ram, for the presentation, and Gal for the introduction. Two golfers, very bad golfers. The first one take the first hit. The ball end up on an anthill. 2 centimeters, the ball is on top of the ground. 10,000 of ants. True story. The golfer goes, he's happy. He has now 2 centimeters the ball above the ground. He says he's now going to get the hit of his life. He takes the hit, he misses the ball, he killed 5,000 ants. True story. He says, okay, now he has only 1 centimeters above the ground. Say, okay, I'll have a second hit. He hit the ball, he misses the ball, he kills 4,998 ants. 2 ants looking at each other, and one tells to the other, listen man, if you want to survive, we have to get on top of this ball. So we have to find a way how to be on top of the ball. This is what Ram is saying, that to survive in this industry, it's not easy, and we have to know how to get on top of the ball. Because the big challenge this year is not only to grow our order book, but to grow ourselves and improve our eyes. This is the challenge of this year. Because to grow the order book, we know how to do it. Okay, we've done it in 2014, we've done it in 2015, we already done it almost in the first half of 2016. Now we need to know how to grow ourselves. This was said by Shadie Bisharat. Should I add something? No. Okay. Leadership development. This is my daughter from TED Talk. So what is leadership? If we go to the books, you will, and whatever you will look for, in one sentence, leadership is a process by which a person influence, inspire, and motivate others towards a common goal. So if we take this and implement it at Arkal, so what is leadership at Arkal? Leadership at Arkal is influence, inspire, motivate ourselves and others to double in 5 in the ICE way, right? So how do we do it? How do we become better leaders? In the session today afternoon and tomorrow, we will discuss some of the 21 laws of leadership. We will also discuss and brainstorm together the laws of teamwork. However, for this session, I would like to explain to you what is the law of the lead. The law of the lead says that your leadership ability always determines your effectiveness and your potential impact on your organization, on your team, on your department, on your project. So, if for example my leadership ability is at 5, this means that my effectiveness can never be higher than a 4. It means that my organization, my team, my department can only grow to a 4. It's limited. It cannot grow higher. If I grow myself and I increase my leadership ability and I lift my leadership lead to a 7, then my effectiveness will go higher. It will go to a 6. My organization, my team, my project, it can also grow to a 6. Okay? As long as you are limited, or your lead is limiting your success. I'll give you some example. For example, Dick and Maurice, they are the founders of McDonald's. They are 2 brothers which moved to New Hampshire from New Hampshire to Hollywood in 1930. They started their first restaurant. in 1948, they started the speedy service system, what we know today as fast food. And they were very successful. They opened another store and another store. They reached to a number of 14 stores. But they couldn't reach a higher number. They tried to franchise the system, they tried to franchise the restaurants, but it was never succeeding. They franchised to another 10 restaurants and then they closed. And then they tried another 10 and they closed. And it never was able to grow above the 14 restaurants. It was generating for them $350,000 US annual sales. They were happy, they were rich, and they couldn't grow more. Then they met Ray Kroc. He bought the exclusive rights for McDonald's for $2.7 million in 1961. His leadership lead was higher than Rick and Maurice. He opened in 4 years 500 McDonald's stores. So this is an example of how Rick and Maurice were limited with their leadership ability. Maybe they were a 6 or a 7. They could bring their organization to a level of managing 14 stores. But when they had to grow higher, they had to bring Ray Kroc to take, because his leadership lead was higher. It was a 9 or a 10. Another example is from John Maxwell book. He says that a few years ago, he met Don Stephenson, the chairman of Global Hospitality Resources. His company took over the management of hotels and resorts that weren't doing well financially. Don said that whenever they came into an organization to take it over, they always started by doing two things. First of all, they were training all the staff to improve their level of service, easy to work with. Second of all, they fired the leader. Then John says in his book, when he told me that, I was at first surprised. You always fire him, I asked, every time? He said, yeah, that's right, every time. Don't you talk to the person first? Don't you meet him, check it out, if he's a good leader at all? And he answered, no. If he'd been a good leader, the organization wouldn't be in the mess it is. That's the law of the lid. So, to reach the highest level of effectiveness, you have to raise the lid, one way or another. And then comes the question, can we improve our leadership ability? So if it's so important, can we improve it? Can we raise our leadership lid? So, if you ask John Maxwell, he will tell you that he never met an unborn leader. Leaders are made, and they are made just like anything else, through hard work. So, the bad news, there's a lid, which we cannot grow higher than it. It's our leadership lid. Our organization, our team, our project cannot grow higher. But the good news, we can increase, we can lift this lid, and we can improve our leadership ability. So leadership ability will affect our success, and we learn that your leadership ability can be raised. So how do we raise the leadership ability? For that, I will teach you the rule of 5. The rule of 5 simply says that if you have a tree in your backyard, and you want to get rid of the tree, you want to cut this tree, then you take an axe. I think I'm losing your attention. Okay, you take an axe. Now we're talking.
Remembers me from yesterday.
And you hit this tree 5 times a day. Every day, you hit the tree with the axe 5 times. Not 500, not 50, not 5,000, only 5 times a day, but you do it every day, every day, every day. What will eventually happen? Dafna, what will eventually happen?
We'll get tired. We lost our attention.
The tree will fall down. Okay, if I hit this tree 5 times a day, the tree will fall down. What determines when it will fall down is the size of the tree. But eventually, it will fall down. So that's the rule of 5. The rule of 5 simply says, know what is your tree and develop the axe, which means what are the things that we have to do every day, 5 times, to reach that goal. Because doing a little bit every day is better than a lot in some day. Most people are living in someday. Someday I will cut the tree. Someday I will talk to someone who can bring me something. We tell this story to our wives every day, yeah? Someday. The concept of the rule of 5 is totally different. Not to live in someday, but to do a little bit every day. Because most people, they overestimate what they can do in one day, and they underestimate what they can do in several days. And this is the principles of the rule of 5. For example, writers that write books, they implement the rule of 5 very simply. They say every day we read, every day we file, every day we think, every day we ask questions, and every day we write. If I do this every day in my life, and I continue doing this every day, then what will happen eventually? I will have a book. I will release a book. The time it will take me is determined by how big I want the book. Same like the tree. But eventually I will have a book. So now, let's see how we implement the rule of 5 to lift our leadership lid. According to John Maxwell, and actually this is a tool that he developed in 2013, not long ago. According to John Maxwell, there are 5 things that if we do every day, we will increase our leadership lid. The first thing to do every day is I lead myself. Now what I mean by I lead myself, it means to lead by example. When you want to teach your follower principles, before you teach them, teach yourselves. When you want your followers to embrace values of the company or your values, you have to embrace them yourselves first. And that's what it means, leadership by example. Don't talk, just act. Don't say, just show. Don't promise, just prove. Because people, they don't follow and according to what you say, they follow according to what they see in you. A boss, again, would say, would tell, would instruct the people what to do. A leader would show them, would act accordingly, and then they will follow him. That's what it means, but every day I lead myself. When they follow you as a leader, it's not what you say to them that makes you effective, it's what they see in you. We teach what we know, but we reproduce what we are. I keep telling my staff, be organized, be organized. Daphna, be organized. What you always think only about the RFQs, handle the open issues, organize the open issues. But if I'm not organized myself, she will never become organized. So I have first to teach myself to become organized. I have to lead myself to become organized. I have to become organized, and then maybe, okay, maybe not that, Tanya. Because we teach what we know, but we reproduce what we are. So, some practical things that we can do in the day-to-day to lead by example. First of all, to take responsibility. You ask others to be responsible, you ask others to take responsibility, you have to take responsibility first. Be truthful, be courageous, walk through fire first, acknowledge failure, be persistent, be consistent, and create solution, don't dwell on problems. These are simple things that if we will embrace them and use them and practice them on a daily basis, then we will start to lead ourselves. So every day, to increase my leadership lead, I have to lead myself. Second thing I have to do every day to increase my leadership lead is to add value to others. Leadership is influence. Right? We talked about it. And when I add value to others continually and consistently, I increase my influence with them. Okay? So that's a very important lesson. How to get influence is to add value to others continually, and then you will increase your influence with these people. Because as John Maxwell says, you have to touch the heart before you ask for the hand. And this is the essence of influence, which is the essence of leadership. So, every day, when I wake up in the morning, I have to think, who will I add value to today? And how will I add value to him today? And before I go to bed, I have to think myself, who did I add value to today? Did I add value enough? And if we practice it every day, then we will start gathering influence with people. So if I'm a project manager and Florian calls me and tells me that the drawing was not accepted by GM because we have to change the spec from GME 123 to GMW 123. I can call the designer and tell him, you have to open the drawing, please change the drawing from GME 123 to GMW 123, and I need it as fast as possible. In this case, I'm using my management position, my project manager position, my positional power, to ask him to do this task. A second option would be to go to the designer and tell him and teach him what's the difference between the GME spec and the GMW spec. That GM as a strategy is to have only global specifications and use it in their different engineering centers in the world. So from now on, they will not use anymore the specific European specification of GME. And then ask him to update the drawing accordingly so we can send it to GM. And this way, I added value to him, okay? I also added value to the company. Because in the next time, maybe this designer will be working on a different drawing, and he will identify that there's here maybe a mistake because the project manager last time taught me that the GM are not using anymore the European specs. And then I will go to my boss and I tell him here, before it will go to the customer and he will complain, here, maybe there's a mistake, let's check it before that. So this way I'm not only adding value to him, I'm adding value and know-how to the company itself. So this is something that if all of us will do every day, we will grow ourselves and we will grow the company. So how do we add value to others? First of all, we need to value others. Because if you won't value others, you will not care to spend the time to add value to them. So first of all, we need to value others. Second of all, we have to know and relate to what others value. Not just let them value what you value. Let's listen, let's learn. What are their values? What do they value? What do they feel? What do they dream about? And then relate to it. That's how you make influence. If you want to influence others, you have to relate to them. Not just imagine or hope that they will relate to you. And third of all, you have to make yourself more valuable so you can add to them value. So, value others, because if you won't value others, you won't care to add them value. Second, know and relate to other great leaders. They listen, they learn, and they lead. And third, make yourself more valuable, because to be valuable to somebody tomorrow is to learn something today. You don't build a business. You build people, and then people build a business. So this second thing I have to do every day to increase my leadership and lift my leadership lid is to add value to others. Third thing I do every day to increase my leadership lid, I study leadership. From the age of 15, I study leadership every day. I have all the books about management, about leadership. I have all of them. Because if you want to become a leader, an effective leader, then you need to understand the field that you are using, you are doing, you are living. Earl Nightingale said once that 1 hour per day of study in any subject will put you at the top of your field within 3 years. Within 5 years, you'll be a national authority, and in 7 years, you can be one of the best people in the world at what you do. So just take a subject and study it every day for 1 hour, and in 5 years you can master and be an expert in this subject. So in the rule of 5, for increasing my leadership lead, I study leadership every day. And then I know that in 3 years or 4 years, 5 years, I will become an expert in this field. So I will know what I'm talking about. So how do I study leadership? There are resources, there are books. We can have learning lunches with other people. We can go to lectures. We can have online lecture at TED, at YouTube. You can search for my daughter's lecture at TED. Because, and today we don't always need books, we have YouTube. So it's easy to study leadership. First thing I do every day to increase my leadership lead is to practice leadership. So I don't have to be a CEO to practice leadership. Everyone can practice leadership in his project, in his team, in his department. You can practice leadership. When I started at Arkal in 2007, 9 years ago, I was 24 years old. I got from Amitai the GSV service panel project, Global Small Vehicle. It was a platform which was cancelled by GM and everybody knew but me. I was given this project. I didn't know it's cancelled. Amitai wanted to give me something to work on. And I practiced leadership with this project. I practiced leadership with the budget of the projects. I made millions of scenarios of the contributional margin and the gross margin, if we go this way and if we go that way, and it was crazy things, but I knew that nobody will implement it. But at least I was practicing leadership. I was making big sessions with all the teams to have big meetings. We were such a small company, I had to call people from the neighbor company, Arkal Filtration, just to fill the room. So I will practice leadership, yeah? So each one of us can practice leadership in the project, in his budget, in the milestones of the project. We can do it. And this is the best place to do it and to practice leadership in Arkal. We never say no to somebody to try. Maybe in the end it will not be implemented, but at least we give the stage for people to show the ideas, to present them, to practice leadership. I remember in 2009 or 2008, we started a happy hour every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Every week somebody was presenting a presentation and bringing a cake for all the company. We were back then 30 people, so it was easy. But it was a rule every Thursday at 10 o'clock to do it. Why did we invent it? Because we wanted people to practice how to speak in front of 30 people. So if I practice it with this happy hour, in 2 years, in 3 years, when I will have to present a technical presentation to the customer, or any presentation, then I practice it already. Because practice gives confidence. So this is why we need to practice leadership every day, and we have how to do it, we have where to do it, and we need to identify how important it is to practice and to get this confidence and to do it. And the fifth thing I have to do every day to increase my leadership lead is I intentionally grow. Not food, Hans. No, not this growth. I intentionally grow myself. I understand the importance of growing myself. I understand that to achieve mountains, I need to grow myself, and then I intentionally grow. Now, to intentionally grow, you need to be in a growing environment, okay? Growth environment is where others are ahead of me. To be people which are faster, better, smarter than me, it's a growth environment. It's the right place to be. So when we are working with super companies like Brose, and we are learning from them, when you are at the head of the class, you are in the wrong class. So it's okay that we have companies which are ahead of us, which we are learning from them. This is okay, this is the growth environment. Also in your teams, in the departments. Growth environment is a place I'm continually challenged. My focus is forward, and we are continually challenged, so we are in a growth environment. Where the atmosphere is affirming, where people around me are encouraging, this is a growth environment. Where I'm often out of my comfort zone, it's okay to be out of your comfort zone. A growth environment is where you are sometimes away of your comfort zone. Some people didn't want to present today and tomorrow, but we want them to be out of their comfort zone, not feeling comfortable, but presenting, doing it. This is how they grow. I wake up excited to leave my footprints on the ground. Failure is not my enemy. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. This is also very common in Arkal, that when there is a mistake, there is a failure, we do lessons learned. Okay, it's okay to fail. We learn. As long as I learn from it, I didn't fail. Because you win or you learn. Others are growing as well. I'm not the only one who is growing. And people desire change. And growth is modeled and expected. This is a growth environment, and if you are in the growth environment and you want to grow, you can grow. I was having a discussion a week ago with Tuvia. You remember when we talked, Tuvia explained to me how 4 months ago, before he started at Arkal, and today, how much he felt he grew. Because he was in a growth environment. He has challenges, yes. He has in Alpha every 2 hours. But he's growing himself. If you look on the positive side, you are growing yourselves in this environment. If you focus only on goals, you may hit the goals, but you will not grow. If you focus on growth, you will grow and always hit the goals. So that's what we are looking for. We are looking to grow and to hit the goals. This is a very, very nice sentence I like. People are anxious to improve their circumstances, but are unwilling to improve themselves. It's always easier when everything around me is okay and the circumstances are perfect. And then I don't need to improve. Okay, maybe. But this doesn't stand for a long time. Okay, we cannot just blame others and blame the circumstances and unwilling to improve ourselves. I'm going to show you a movie, a scene from the movie Rocky, where his son is blaming the circumstances, he's blaming others, and then his father, Rocky, is giving him a very, very inspiring speech.
You ain't gonna believe this, but you used to fit right here. I'd hold you up and say to your mother, this kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching every day. It was like a privilege. And the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not point the finger saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always gonna love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son, you're my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't gonna have a life.
You got the point?
Stefan, are you crying?
Okay, so the rule of 5 to become better leader, as we mentioned, to lead ourselves, lead yourself, lead myself, add value to others, learn leadership, practice leadership, and intentionally grow. If I do it every day, in 1 year, next year when we will meet here in the conference, you will be a better leader. That's exactly, and that's how simple this is. There's no magic. We have to do it every day, but it will work. I was in Europe with my wife. We were traveling in an old, authentic city, and we were very excited. So my wife found such old local man, start asking him questions about this place, about how nice it is, about how history it has, and how old it is. And then I asked him, has ever any great man born in this town? And then he looked at me and he told me, no, only babies were born here. The message of this story is that greatness is not born great. And we can develop ourselves to become great, because nobody is born great.